Check it.
I thought you were gonna rap. I was ready.
I thought so too, but
Good news, everyone. Good news. Still Scrolling is back on the feed again because we have so much to talk about. I am your host with the best hair, Justin.
and I am your host with gray hair, Derek.
Literally, this is the oldest episode we've ever done because our good friend Stefania, unfortunately, she got reaped in the Hunger Games, unfortunately. Elle Fanning pulled her name and was like, Stefania! I'm not going to say her last name. I don't want to dox her, but welcome to the show. We have so much to talk about. Even though Steph isn't here.
Hold on. Her username has her full name.
Oh, okay. So we can dox Steph. For the viewers at home, she lives in Dakota. The capital city of Dakota. That's where Steph lives. Anyways. So we have to do a show because the world is so topsy-turvy. There's so much happening on a daily basis. We're going to talk about the Trump versus Pope. We're going to talk about Daredevil season 3 spoilers or Born Again season 3 spoilers. All that stuff and more. So keep it locked on here. But Derek, did you know that the Trump presidency is now going to war with the holiest man on the planet right now? Did you
Pedro
see
Pascal?
what? Holy? That's a different kind of holy, but that's a whole other podcast. Anyways,
Sam Smith? Oh, sorry. Wait, that's unholy. Sorry.
Wow. Okay. We'll get there. Anyways, you scrolled upon what Trump posted this morning on Truth Social because Derek still has Truth Social for some reason. But what did the president say?
I saw a screenshot of it because I do not have Truth Social. He's been at this, I think, even into last week. But over the weekend, the Trump has been essentially talking shit about the Pope, calling him a bad Pope. I think he called him a liberal, like a lib, you know.
Calling the head of the Catholic Church a lib is certainly a statement.
yeah, very like. Have you been paying attention? But I think it all came to a head today with a very simple AI generated photo of Trump, I guess like healing or blessing somebody. Justin, do you have it pulled up?
I have the image pulled up. Let me open it up on here. It's kind of wild because this is antichrist behavior, but that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah. And my biggest takeaway from all of this is the guy that you think is like the Christian Messiah sent here to save us from the radical left. You know, like this is your guy. This is your man.
This is your guy.
Like, what is this, bro?
There it is. Here we go. This is rough.
My God.
And this is all because the Pope doesn't believe in war. He criticizes the U.S. involvement in the Iran war. There was a whole thing. J.D. Vance threatened him as well. And I think it was not the director of national security. Hold on. Let me get this perfect. Or not perfect, but correct. But AP News says Trump delivered an extraordinary broadside against Leo on Sunday night, saying he didn't think the U.S.-born global leader of the Catholic Church is doing a very good job. He's a very liberal person, and while also suggesting the pontiff should stop catering to the radical left, which is weird. He said Pope Leo is weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy. I didn't know the Pope had control over crime.
Yep. Everybody knows the Pope's crime policy directly impacts how crime is addressed.
Yes. All of that
worldwide.
came after Leo presided over an evening prayer service in St. Peter's Basilica on Saturday, the same day the United States and Iran began face-to-face negotiations in Pakistan during a fragile ceasefire, with President J.D. Vance, or Vice President J.D. Vance, leading the U.S. delegation. Vance is Catholic and recently released a book about his faith. During his evening prayer service, the Pope didn't mention the United States or Trump by name, but his tones and message appeared directed at Trump and U.S. officials who have boasted of U.S. military superiority and justified the war in religious terms. Wow. Okay. Oh, he said that God does not listen to the prayers of those who wage war, but reject them. And he quoted the Old Testament passage from Isaiah saying that even though you make many prayers, I will not listen. Your hands are full of blood. Well, I guess Donald Trump
Well,
was like, at me next time. I mean, I don't know.
yeah. Where's the
President
lie?
wrote, like, I mean, how you gonna not agree with that? I don't know what to tell you, buddy. And to just reply with that with an AI image of him as Jesus is really fucking weird. I can't sugarcoat it, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
extremely weird. Okay, here's the thing. I don't. Do we think that this is going to be the smoking gun? Is this the thing that catapults people to be like, maybe we shouldn't like Donald Trump? Finally,
No.
finally,
Unf
no.
yeah. Unfortunately, no. I think this man, there is a cognitive dissonance
Right.
to everything that Trump supporters consume. If it's convenient for their cult and their support of Donald Trump, they'll either reject or accept it. And this is one of those where it's like, this isn't blasphemy. No, it's just an AI generated image. He's just a fan of Jesus. So he sees himself in Jesus because Jesus is all of us, right? They
So
contort
weird.
themselves into making sense of it when really this is like literal blasphemy. I'm pretty sure this is like against at least one of the 10 commandments, right? Um, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not hyper religious like that, so I don't want to step in and claim to be an expert on the matter here. But I don't think you need to be super religious to understand when somebody's using religion to manipulate others and try to drive some sort of a narrative.
Well,
Just another day in
I,
America, baby.
just another day in America. Speaking of another day in America, Derek, do you follow Mike Coulter on Instagram?
I do not know.
Okay, for those of you that don't know, Mike Coulter is the guy who plays Luke Cage on Marvel's TV Netflix universe, right? And if you haven't heard the word, Jessica Jones is going to appear in this season of Daredevil Born Again season 3. And then last week, I think me and Steph talked about it a little bit on last Thursday. But last week, there were set photos of Mike Coulter and Finn Jones in those like not security robes, but trying
Mhm.
to hold the costume, hide it in New York. And there was a peak of yellow, and there was a peak of sandals, I guess, with Finn Jones wearing. And so, literally, an hour before we're about to record this podcast, Mike Coulter just posts himself having a great time on the set of Daredevil Born Again season 3. They haven't even announced it. Is this an announcement? I don't know, but like literally, Mike, bro. Okay, so for those of you that are watching and listening, this
Ah,
may contain spoilers for Daredevil Born Again at various points, but like, stop, Mike, what are you doing? Okay, here he is at a Broadway show. That's cool. He went to go see him.
oh,
Mike, it's
there it
literally
is.
him in a yellow shirt
Yeah.
and dressed up as Luke Cage. Mike, he's
This is
definitely
very
back.
was very uncle behavior.
I mean, I don't.
But like in a good
Why?
way, in a good
Why?
way, in a good way, in a wholesome way, you know? Um
Literally, I'm
yeah,
not
well,
sure why he thought this. Like, bro, you're obviously back as Luke Cage. Here's him getting like some facial treatments and stuff. It's like, bro, don't spoil the whole show. Don't spoil all of it. Literally just
Yeah,
posting like he's on the set. I don't know.
it's
Are we
weird.
excited that
Why
Mike Coulter is officially back as Luke Cage?
I I'm split on it. Um,
What?
I think so. Hold on. I have two opinions on this. As a fan of as a fan of comic book media, I think this is great, right? Because I think something that Disney
Right.
has done better than Netflix is make these projects feel comic booky. And I think uh Luke Cage not as much, but um Daredevil on Netflix was very much just like this is just a guy who likes to fight and he's a detective slash lawyer and he's just trying to fight crime, right? Like the Disney Plus version I think is very much more comic booky. So I'm excited to see Luke
Mike.
Cage and the Defenders back in a more comic book type setting. Wow, okay. So I guess Matt Murdock goes to jail at the end of
Exactly.
season 2.
Mike,
Thank you, Mike Coulter, for posting this on your Instagram. Fuck.
why? Why?
We're not even halfway through the season.
Mike, what are you doing? Mike. Okay, you know what? We'll see if this post stays up. Listen, I'm happy Mike's back. He is Luke
I am.
Cage.
I am.
He
I'm
is
happy.
Luke Cage. I
Hmm.
think I go back and forth with him and Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones because
Yeah.
sometimes they have really good chemistry and sometimes they don't. I'm like, does it work? Sometimes it does,
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't. But I'm excited to see everyone back. The problem is, do you remember the plot line of Luke Cage season 2?
Yeah, with was it Dr. Voodoo or something like that?
He
Not Dr.
It
Voodoo, it was
ended
this.
in such a weird spot
Hmm.
where Luke Cage essentially becomes a mobster and he
Yeah.
starts to take over Harlem, and we just never came back to it. And it's
Yeah.
like, is Luke Cage a good? I'm sure they will ignore it the same way that the end of Iron Fist literally has him giving up his powers to that one girl, one of the daughters of the dragon. And he has spirit guns and he's shooting spirit bullets. I'm sure we'll forget that. I'm sure there was like a mysterious season that will never be mentioned where everyone got their powers and everyone's back to quote
Hmm.
unquote normal
Hmm.
because that was fucking wild. Where
Yeah.
why
It
would you end the whole show like that?
also the dragon bones beneath New York City that no Avenger or other, you know, mainstream MCU project has ever acknowledged, right? So,
Listen, do we want to acknowledge the Dragon
no.
Bones?
No,
Like,
I'm
do we
totally
want to?
fine with selectively choosing what continues to be canon from the Netflix shows.
So, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I have a theory about like the whole is the Netflix verse canon. It feels as though at this point it is and it isn't canon in that
Yeah.
it feels as though they just cast these people again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it's canon. It did happen. What are they holding to it?
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing.
The Netflix Marvel shows are canon in the same way that Munch from Law and Order is canon to like 4 or 5 different shows.
Who is Munch?
Google him, you'll see him, and you'll be like, "Oh, that guy." He's in the Law
Munch.
and Order shows, obviously, so he's in that universe. But he's also been in X Files. He's also been on like 2 or 3 other uh, procedural cop shows. And it's basic, and he's the same exact character in all of that. But you don't really need to dive in and say like, well, what is the timeline of Munch's appearances and what has he been up to in between this appearance and that appearance and this show and that show? That's how I feel about the Netflix TV shows where it doesn't matter. Okay, like those stories are kind of just wrapped up. It's not a huge deal if there isn't specific like chronological details that fit or don't fit or whatever.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Well, can't wait to see Luke Cage's daughter
Yeah, I can't wait to see Matt Murdock go to jail in season 2 of Daredevil Born Again because Mike Coulter spoiled it on
It's
Instagram.
fine. It is what it is. I will say, if Jessica Jones has a daughter and it's not her and Luke's kid, that's weird. It has to be Daniela Cage.
Yeah,
It has to be.
it has to
Like
be.
that's
Yeah,
that's their whole thing. But anyways, that's a
yeah.
whole other box of worms. But speaking of box of worms, Derek, are you a fan of the Hunger Games?
Yeah. Does a
Oh,
quarter
that was a
quell
long
happen
pause, my
every
guy.
25 years? Or I was trying to think of the words. Sorry.
Long pause, but the trailer for the Sunrise on the Reaping released about 3 hours before this recording that we are doing this on. I think this might be the best looking Hunger Games ever.
Yep.
It
Agreed.
looks so good. Like, geez, I I I don't want to see children perform in a death battle in real life, but they make it
I
look
don't.
so cool. What are
They
some of
really
the
do.
moments that stood out to you in Sunrise on the Reaping?
It's less moments that stood out and more so remembering the fate of certain characters when you see them on the screen and you're kind of like, oh, it's this character. Oh God, it's this character. You know, like you have that flashback to certain scenes, particularly with like squirrels. Um, that is pretty rough. Yeah. So I'm not looking forward to the pain, but I'm ready to be hurt again. The visuals of this Hunger Games I think is really cool too because I think it maybe it's on purpose, maybe it's not, but it's very colorful, it's very vibrant, and I think
Right.
that is a perfect reflection of where Haymitch is at this point in his life before he gets reaped, and then where he ends up after that. It's very dark and gloomy and all that stuff. So it kind of matches the aesthetic of the other movies. So I
Right.
think that's a cool like artistic choice, right? And I think that it's not even artistic, but it's also like the book itself, right? Suzanne Collins wrote it that way, where the what is it, the stadium, the arena is with all the flowers and the colors and the beauty of nature, and it's very just beautiful. Um, but yeah, what do
So
you
you
think?
you've read the book, right?
Yes, yeah,
Okay. So I don't. I For those of you that are waiting to be spoiled, we're about to spoil a little bit of like the the book in this quarter.
yeah,
So spoilers ahead if you haven't read the book. Here's the thing: there's twice as many victors in this game. Don't get too attached. Most of them die in like the first 10 minutes of the games, right? Like
immediately,
literally, like immediately. And the thing is, this is spoilers coming ahead. This is where the first attempt happens to break the game. And
yeah,
Haymitch is almost a Mockingjay or a proto Mockingjay of
yeah,
him trying to break the game. I The part of this that I love about the Hunger Game is the strategy behind it of like, okay, how do you win these games? How do you get people to curry your favor? And unfortunately, the most interesting part of this franchise is the part that you should not be rooting for. So I'm always surprised of them trying to like, I don't know, reinvent the wheel on this and make it not interesting, but twice as many people, the most beautiful setting. It makes you want to watch a Hunger Games. Is that weird?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very much like, oh, time to unwind with my post-apocalyptic, or what is it, future dystopia stories. It's really very weird, very weird.
Very weird, but I'll be sad. I'll be it's one of those things where you're like, come in your florals, whatever
Whatever Blake
Blake
Lively said.
Lively
Yeah.
said. Remember that? She's like, bring your florals, and it's a film about domestic violence.
Yeah.
It's the same energy. But this is my favorite part of the show because if you don't know, it's time for special viewers. Oh wait, no, wait, no, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. one. Sorry. No.
I didn't even realize it. I was just bopping.
No. Here it is. Here it is. Special Viewers Unit is where we take a show that we are watching and we dive a little bit deeper and talk about it in depth, full of spoilers. Today, we're going to be talking about the season 3 premiere of Euphoria. So if you're not interested in that, scroll away. If you haven't
Bye,
seen
bitch.
it, this is your spoiler warning as well. This episode is full of spoilers, but me and Derek have both watched the Euphoria season 3 premiere. So let's do a quick thumbs up or thumbs down of how we felt about the premiere. Are you ready, Derek?
Yep.
All right, in 3, 2, 1. For the viewers at home, it's a thumbs down for the both of us.
Yep.
um
What are we doing? What
what are
like
we
what are-
doing
what are
here?
we what are we doing here? You know, like it
What are
suffers
we doing here?
from a lot of things, I think, but I think the main issue here is that it's got a lot of what I think held Stranger Things back or was wrong with the final season of Stranger Things, where
Right.
it's been so long, we finally got something, and what we got completely lacks what made the show good in the first place. You know, and we're just one episode in, but you could already tell they're laying the groundwork for some sort of like uncut gems, do this sketchy thing to resolve the issue, to then do another sketchy thing, and then but this other problem comes up. They're setting up this show where it used to just be about like a teenager with addiction problems, with like, just like, hey, it's tough being a human. And now it's about
Being a drug
drug
mule.
being a drug mule and like trying to maybe be a good person, but not really. Like I don't know. I don't know. That's part of the issue too. Is I don't know what they're trying to say with this.
I don't think
And
Sam Levinson knows what he wants to say. I
right.
think here's the thing. I posted that Euphoria season 3 feels like that last season of Arrested Development where they tried to bring it back on Netflix, but everyone from Arrested Development was way too famous. And
Yep.
so everyone was like siloed in their parts of the world and they couldn't like interact in like the same scene a lot. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, and keep in mind, this is 5 years after Euphoria season 2. In that time,
Chronologically.
I think we've gotten 2 Spider-Man movies with Zendaya in them as Mary Jane.
Yeah.
In fact, Sydney Sweeney became a Spider Person in in that time.
Yeah.
Um, Jacob Elordi was
Blow up.
Elvis, and like all these people blew up to like. I don't think it's because of Euphoria, but it definitely was a launching pad for a lot of these people. Like, in
Yeah.
fact, like each one of these actresses and actors are in a franchise, a
Mm-hmm.
huge franchise.
Yeah.
Like, Jules, Hunter Schafer is in the
Yeah.
Hunger Games franchise.
Yeah.
Literally, these people don't have time for this.
Yeah.
And
It's
oh,
funny.
go ahead.
It's funny that they cast Marshawn Lynch in that like cameo role as like one of the enforcers,
Yeah.
because he famously said, "I'm just here so I don't get fined." And I think that's why all those actors are still in season 3. They're just there because they signed the contract and they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they wanted to come back. And props to them that I don't think any one of them is doing a bad job per se. But this ain't it, and the story ain't it.
It's just okay. Specifically, do we care about Zendaya as Rue? I think I do. I still do.
Yeah.
Is the drug mule stuff interesting? Yes, I think it's a little bit thrilling, if not confusing outright. You know what I mean? This show is no longer a show about teenagers, and this is coming from a Degrassi fan. You know, and okay, listen, hear me out. I'm gonna connect Degrassi and Euphoria. We'll just watch. In that. when the characters went off to college in Degrassi, it never worked. It never worked once they graduated Degrassi. And one of the reasons is because there are a few things like high school where it forces proximity and conflict.
Right.
In that, like, it's because you are all in the same room in the same building for at least 8 hours a day, it forces conflict in a way that other places don't, right? And when you're out in the real world, in like not real life, but like once you're an adult, those conflicts of forced proximity are rarer. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
now it's just about adult fuck ups. You know what I mean? And I know we give a lot of shit on Euphoria, but I do think that it's one of the shows most affected by the pandemic. Because remember, Euphoria seasons 1 and 2 were filmed before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I think it captured the energy of that generation extremely well for that time.
Yep.
The problem is everything and that generation has changed so dramatically because of the pandemic. It's no longer accurate, as you know what I'm saying?
Everything.
It's no
Yeah. Everything
longer
that's happened
true.
since
Yeah.
is just we're in a different world, and I think we've just moved on from the show, and it doesn't help. I don't think that's the only issue. I think society. Yeah, we're just in a different place. We don't want to see this type of shit anymore, but also we're not watching the same show anyway. We're just watching a different show with the same characters, but also it doesn't look interesting.
Yeah, and I think Sam Levinson only had a few things to say,
Hmm.
and I think he said them.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't think he has that much to say. And
yeah.
this season 3 premiere felt more like The Idol with The Weeknd than it did
Hmm.
Euphoria. And The Idol was so
Hmm.
bad I could not finish it. It was
So bad.
unwatchable.
The to me season to me Euphoria could have ended with season 1 and would
Really?
have
I
been
think
and
season 2 was electric, especially that party scene with Cassie
it
and
was fine. Yeah, yeah.
it
Season
was
2 season 2
good.
was fine. Yeah, season 2 was fine, but I think from it it wasn't as good as season 1 for me, and I think that the way season 1 ends with the dance number, with the musical and they're dancing in the streets
Yeah.
and I think it was that they bring her up, they bring Zendaya up and then they drop her and it just cuts to black like that's the end of it. I think that was perfect. I think that was perfect and it was one of these like did she relapse? Did she stay clean? Where do all these people end up? Like that was very nice. That was very nicely executed. The show right now still looks very well done. Visually speaking, it looks like you're watching a movie. Like that's awesome. But from what are they saying, right? What is the writing? What is the story? I think even with season 2, you started to see that falter a little bit, and it was just kind of like you kind of said everything in the first season, and now Rue relapsed, and it's just kind of weird. And then now we're fast forwarding 4 years, 5 years in the show, 4 years in real life, and we've had the conversation around is Sam Levinson a creep, and then we got the Idol, which basically reignited the conversation around is Sam Levinson a creep, right? And it's not the Idol isn't related to Euphoria story wise, but that kind of settled the debate for me around him. So it's just weird. It's just weird, and I don't think it's people care about it this type of stuff anymore. At least for me.
Dang. All right. Will you be tuning in to episode 2 of season 3 of Euphoria?
I'll give it a shot just out of like, maybe I jumped. I want to hold myself accountable when I critique things and talk about things,
Okay.
So I want to see like maybe I jumped the gun here. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe maybe the premiere just wasn't a solid enough episode. So, I'll keep
We'll see.
watching until I just can't anymore. But also if I'm being honest, 20 minutes into this episode I was over it, right? Like
Wow.
so like I
Dang.
see myself already having that kind of a reaction to the next few episodes, and you can only do that so much, you can only
Right.
force yourself. What about you?
Um
Will you be watching the complete season and
I will be watching it because I'm very curious to see how they handle Eric Dane, because this is
Okay.
his last performance of his
Right.
life. So I'm
That's true.
very curious to see that through. But a shaky start to say the least.
Yeah,
A
and he went to
very,
jail. The
very shaky.
character went to jail, right?
Uh, uh it was 5 years ago. It's
Yeah. We don't
I
know.
honestly don't remember. Oh man, I forgot. So we'll see how
We
that
don't
goes.
know because Jules wasn't even in the premiere episode, so why would they put
I
a lesser character in the premiere if they didn't put one of the main characters in
yeah.
the Oh
That's
god.
a whole other thing. But anyways,
Yeah.
we'll be back on Thursday to probably talk about all the CinemaCon news that's coming up.
Yeah.
A lot of movie news is coming your way, so stay tuned. Make sure you're following us on all the socials. That's TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, and all that good jazz. And we'll see you later this week. Bye-bye.
Where's my snare? I can't hear my snare.